What's up, good people? It's Isaiah. And as we look at the tape, I'm saying it's been a while since I made a video. For reasons, right? Nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Got back from the Philippines, which is fine. Had a sore throat. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not David. I'm not gonna shoot video, considering I have videos to shoot for customers, right, for work. So, figured I'd do that. All right. Anothereden kind of took a back seat in this case, and then rather recently had a damn sore throat, which took a lot longer to recuperate from. Because of how screwed up it was. From it's one thing to have a sore throat. My hearing was kind of gone. Tonsils were a bit swollen. The whole nine. And so there's no videos because of that. So anyway, the whale is back. You know what I'm saying? With some videos. I'm behind on schedule like mad. You know what I mean? I think my last few videos. Let's see. I know I did the video on Izuka's True Manifest, right? I believe I did 2 AFs in that whole deal, which was fun, along with 2 Stellar Bursts. But actually, no, it may have been 1 AF with 2 Stellar Bursts. You know what I mean? Then the video before that was on, oh boy, I want to say Alter Locato, right? Interesting stuff. So, in other words, I've been gone for a while, right? And it's amazing how much can happen in like a month, you know what I mean, with Anothereden. So, for example, I believe like that Locato video was probably in January. And since then, we've had, I want to say, new characters. There's obviously, like I said, the Manifest fight. Who was it? Komachi. Another style got released. Kino Alter got released. I want to say that was before I left for the Philippines, or maybe after, or maybe hell, it could have been while I was in the Philippines. Then we have Nonold, another style, or Nonold Stellar Awaken, not another style. What the hell am I talking about? That was the other guy. All right. Krev, right? Another style. Stellar Awaken, and then Tuva got Stellar Awakened, right? So a lot happened, in the time that I've been away. All right. So, but that's not why I'm shooting this video. Shockingly enough, I'm shooting this video, one, to respond to Chrono. All right. Casual Chrono. He did a video on daily routine, right? And I have 2 versions of this video. The one you're listening to right now, and then the sick version where I attempted to shoot this video, knowing damn well my voice was taking an absolute beating, just in trying to record this video, right? So, with all that said, what is my routine like? Really, my daily routine, if you will, in regards to AE, right? So first things first, I'm checking progress, as in I'm looking at where I'm at with certain characters, and that's a key point for me. Looking at where I'm at for certain characters. What I mean by that is I'm looking at that light and shadow counts, all right? At the rate at which things are going, I'll probably max out every character in the game before the year's over with, apart from Luring Shadow Lance. Luring Shadow Lance. And the reason why is because there's not many Luring Shadow Lance characters in the game. All right, so show you all this here. This is the team that was shown in the trailer for the update coming on Saturday. And I'm trying to figure out how this team would even work, right? But that's a topic for a whole nother video here. All right, so first thing I'm looking at is where are the characters at? So we'll start with light here, and we'll sort by light here. 134 currently in the view. Okay, and sure, the bulk of them are pretty much finished. So, like, I got entire classes, staff, sword, katana, axe, lance. I believe these are all finished. Up to bow, maybe even hammer. but we'll see. So, I guess I could just do this here, right? We all know staff is done, so I'm not even gonna scroll through that. Sword, I don't really remember here. 17, yep, all done. Katana, okay, all done. Axe, I believe, is all done. Yep, all done. All right, lance, all done. Okay, bow, all done. All right, fist, not all done. This I know because of the KOF fighters, right? So we have KOF here. Mai and Terry need to be Stellar Awakened still. I believe I need to go finish, or I need to go do whatever that tournament fight is against whoever that final boss is. I forget his name, but I gotta go do that again in order to do this. And then, of course, I think the other one comes from, once I finish that, I do the, I believe there's a Astral Archive for KOF. I don't really recall. I'll have to double check that. And then, of course, Twiggy. Now, what's funny is I could finish possibly one, maybe even two of these units here. I mean, if they're at 80 or so, okay, to go from 80 to 255, that's 175 light points, and I have how many again? 468. So I have enough to get two characters to 255, two of these KOF fighters to 255. You know what I mean? And I'll still have some left over. So, but I'm not doing that, obviously, because I'm like KOF, and they're brand new. I'm not really too interested in using them. You know what I mean? And then Twiggy, he's probably going to be the last one I finish, if we're being honest. All right. Moving on to Hammer. Paporo, he's the last one. Again, I can finish. All right. So, again, going back to what I just said, it's 255 to get a character. To get the character to 255. I have 401 right now. So, if I had 510, it would be enough to get to two characters to 255. But there isn't a second character. It's really just Paporo here. All right. Plus, I can just grind his dungeon, to get into 255 if I wanted to. I'm not going to go that route, but if I wanted to, I can. All right, Shadow, there's only 9. They're all done. Okay. Fist here, where are we at? All done. Why? Didn't he show up in the assemble portion of Senya? Right? Didn't he show up? You know what I mean? I was hoping they could have just teased something. You know what I mean? Anyway. Bow, I believe these are all done. Yep. Lance, you're going to be last. As you can see, I have Galliard and Milsha finished. Oski, Tuva, and Jade. All right. Jade is the only free, Luring Shadow Lance unit. These other two are gotcha. But look at this. There's 3 of them on the screen right now that are gotcha units. So therefore, the odds of me completing them, say this month, not happening. Okay, even if I use the trials, it's not happening. I'd have to actually dedicate the trials just to them. Where if I were to do that, I could finish Hosuki. Would you get about 45 per month or so? And she's at 128, so she would need 127 or so points to get her to 255. But if I'm only getting, say, 45 a month, it's going to be about 3 months before she's finished. You know what I mean? Maybe 4 for Tuva, and then forever for Jade, unless I run the dungeons. You know what I mean? So, pretty much on the back burner. Axe here. All done. Katana, not finished. Another Azuka. All right. At 80, we could finish her. In fact, I could have finished her a long time ago. I just didn't, because I'm like, well, you never know who's coming next. You never know. All right, what if they made, what's his name? Reimei, a playable unit, right? Never know. Okay? So, That just sits here, right? Again, doesn't take much to get to 255. Fortunately, there's more than enough gotcha characters. I wish I was a filter here. There's more than enough gotcha units here, where if I did a pull and I got them, it was like the numbers would like stack back up if I got her to 255 right now. All right, again, it's only 175, and I'm at 398, so that will leave me with 175, 398, 223, which, 16 for pulling a character, assuming there's no bonus pickup, right? It's 239, be somewhat close to getting them to 255. In that case, I would just pull again, and then boom, they're at 255. You know what I mean? So, no rush for that. She has her uses, though, or used to have uses for me. And what I mean by that is I used her for Frogicide Extreme, right? I believe I have a video about me doing just that. And then I experimented with, I want to say it was Shinwa in Extreme. I may be wrong, but pretty sure it was Shinwa. So I used her, ran through Extremes, and, she can like one shot. It could be her and Iffy, and it's no big deal. Or just her by herself, and she's clearing it on her own. You know what I mean? So Azika's use in that case was just blah. Went away. All right. So moving on, what are we looking at? Sword. We have just these units. Lokido is the only gotcha unit. Everybody else is free. Deidre, Joker, Velvet, Morgana, free. All right. So with Lokido, how many do we have? 123. Wow. Go figure. Thought I had a lot less than that. Okay. I can get him to 255. All right. Still have, I want to say 4 left over. But I'm not going to do that. All right. So, Deidre, Joker, Velvet, Morgana. And then for staff, we have Impel and Daenerys. And that's it. All right. So far, just based on looking at this, I have more free characters to get to 255 than I do gotcha ones. Okay. That's 1. Sword, Lokido, is 2. Yuzuka is 3. Axe, pretty sure it's finished. Lance, Hozuki, and Tuva, that's 5. Bow, I believe is finished. Fist, I believe is finished. Yep. Hammer's finished. Yeah, so it may just be just those 5. If I go to light here, light, hammer, all done. Right. Fists, the free units, and then everything else, bow, lance, staff, they're all done. So 5 gotcha units left to get to 255. Everybody else, I can grind a dungeon for. You know what I mean? So with that, I would then look at these numbers. I was sorting my light here. 222 characters. All right. And we have these here. I'm not going to run the dungeon right now for that, because most likely I'm not going to use them. I'd probably stick with like OG units. And what I mean by that is people like Deidre. You know what I mean? And work on her. All right. And we have Shadow here. Look at her. Look at her. Nona. Anyway. Gives an extra style, Nona. Stellar Awakened. All right. Lokido. Hozuki, Impel. I'll probably do Impel. Just to get it done and over with. You know what I mean? So I would throw him in the mix. Right? Or I would go for Deidre. And the reason why, because I can skip her dungeon. I don't have to do anything. So say I throw her in. And what is Deidre's dungeon? Yep, there we go. And I'll just skip. Use up the keys. Skipping. All right. And I would pretty much talk about luck, right? Talk about luck. All right. So I would just do that. This is what I did for Galliard, actually. For those wondering how to get extra light and shadow, this is one way to do it. Not necessarily through skipping here, though it can be done, but look at the magic here. All right, this is a reward or something you get and you get rewards for. So if you don't know, and these are for new players. Oh man, where is it? Here we go. So I have 948,000. As you can see, come on now, open up the list. Luring Shadow Sword, Guiding Light Sword, right? You get extra light or shadow based on how many you've accumulated. Now, at this point, there's no point in going past 630,000, right? But I figured I'll show you. I'm doing her dungeon instead of TTW. And that's simply because I can't skip TTW, right? There's a few dungeons in the game that you just simply can't skip, all right? And I think that's probably because you have to actually make choices and actually do stuff in these dungeons. You know what I mean? So, I don't think we can actually skip any of Clark's dungeons yet. I could be wrong, but, I haven't tried it in a while, so. But I would do that. Get more light and shadow, or in this case, shadow for her. Nice. Okay, so we do that. And I don't think I've used them all. Let's see. Nope, 3 left. We're gonna finish this up real quick. Trying to give you guys the real, you know what I mean? So, for those that think I capped out, nice. For those of you that think I just do pulling for units, for free characters is not really the case. As you can see, I'm running the dungeon for her. And in fact, that's what I did for a lot of the units, you know what I mean? Apart from Ash Tier, you know what I mean? And then anything I had left over from anybody is what I also did. So when I finished Galliard, for example, I had leftover Luring Shadow Sword, give it all to him, things of that nature, you know what I mean? But I do run the dungeons, okay? Just don't want to make it seem like, I'm just the whale pulling on every damn thing and then getting the extra and then using the extra for these units, you know what I mean? I do run dungeons still, right? Granted, I don't have to run them as much, but I definitely still run dungeons, so. Anyway, if it was a new month, which it is, the 7th, then what I would do is take advantage of the trials, all right? And the way I would go about doing that, okay, is say Deidre was close to 255, but not exactly at 255. So let's say she was at 250 or 254, right? Hence why I said I would run the dungeons, okay? What I would do is I would look at these rewards, and I have to do them. I look at these rewards here. So that's a 5, that's a 10, 10, 20, okay? So if she was at, say, 254, all right, I would do the Sealed Realm. I would clear Sealed Realm, get my 20 light and shadow points for any weapon type in this case, all right? I would go to Deidre, assuming I had other characters I wanted to finish who were Luring Shadow Sword. I would go to Deidre, and I would give her these Luring Shadow points. All right. Reason why I would do that is because she's gonna get the 1, bumps her to 255. I get the spill over, right? So I get 19 Luring Shadow Swords when doing that. Okay. So, and that's pretty much how I determine, all right, who am I giving what to? Okay. Works like a charm, by the way. Works like a charm. You know what I mean? So, same thing, it feels like, say, just like this 10 here, Industrial Ruins. Okay, I'm looking at all right, who can I give this to? Doesn't have to be Deidre, could have been anybody. Drop them, okay, get them at 250 and up, 250 to 254. Ideally closer to 254 than 250. And then from there, go ahead and give it to them. Get the spillover, take the spillover, and give that to somebody else. You know what I mean? So, works. All right, so there's that. In case anybody was wondering here, like, okay, what are some strategies one can do? That's just one of them. All right. Anyway, what else do we do? Well, I pay for the trials. Therefore, there's no ads for me to see here. But also, before I even do this, I make sure I use up everything, right? So that's green keys and red keys, okay? Because you can get either stones, green, or red keys. So before I even do this here, I make sure I've used up everything. So for, say, green keys, all right? Since I'm going to run a dungeon anyway, what I'm looking at when it comes to the green keys is I'm looking at, say, the Garrelia areas, right, that use 2 green keys. And I'm looking, okay, do I have everything in every area? Everything that doesn't have to do with a weapon upgrade, all right? So, for example, we're looking at Fine here, or Cam. Fine or Cam, doesn't really matter which one. We'll stick with Cam. I'll use a different team, because this team probably, I can make it work, but do I really want to go through the extra hassle of making sure skills are up to date? Look at this. No, this, ooh, man, this would have ended horribly. I just have them because they were featured in the trailer. So, hold on. Let me actually see. Because if I can AF, then it's like no problem. I cannot. Oh, of course, that makes sense because it's Fine and Cam. There will be no AF. In this case, wow, all right. Yeah, this team's not optimized at all for AF. We need a way to get that AF back. You know what I mean? And sure, there's a way to do that, but just not it right now. So, anyway, not gonna worry about that. Did this always say? Okay. But this team can't really be used for anything. I'm not sure why they use this particular team in the trailers, but whatever. All right, so let's say I'm gonna run in Trana, and we'll get rid of everybody else. Although you can stay, we're gonna build around Aldo. Pain and Poison Setter. So that's.
Summon forth the darkness.
Thinking of taking the lily, are you?
Let's get somebody with fixed damage.
So, you have need of real expertise.
That should work inside of Intrana. Hopefully. Don't know, we'll see. Speaking of, I don't think I need to bring Cam into Intrana. Because if I don't, then I'm actually swap out Cam and bring in somebody else. Where's Fine?
We got this.
And wow, I do not like her voice. Anyway, why am I bringing Fine? And I'll use Annabelle for this. This is actually how the scene was set up previously.
Have yourself a night.
Right? Why am I bringing Fine? Because she has all the XP gear. All right? Which leads to another point. Things that I do daily. Now, I only do this once a day. Not necessarily the dungeon, but the phase shift in the dungeon. I do it once a day. Reason why is because I have the phase shift all the way or the phase shift amp all the way maxed out. So because of that, and I want to keep it, I don't want to have to go through and like get the amp or get the crystal to get the amp, run another phase shift, and hope to keep it again. Right? I don't want to do that. All right. So once a day, I'm pretty much just running Intrana or running Omegaopolis, all right, for the experience. So let's go to Hollow here, and there's a skip feature. All right, perfect. So what we got? And mainly what I'm looking for is to see if I even have enough to even do a damn phase shift. I don't remember what it was. Is it Neps or is it the meteor chunks for the phase shift? I don't remember. So in this case, I would have to run the dungeon in order to find out. Okay. And how I picked the dungeon, by the way, is based on me looking at, okay, what do I have left? All right, as far as getting things, right? So I believe in Intron, I actually do have stuff I still need to get. So we'll start by popping in here. See if he has anything. Nope, he has nothing. See, necklaces. I have to get these. Okay, so now I know what these naps are for. They're for... Okay, auto skill. Alright. Not bad. So, there's 2 of those left here. Does this old man have anything? Okay. In this case, because other areas are like this, I wouldn't even consider, okay, I'm not going to go back just for these. That makes no sense. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to do that. So I'm not really concerned with that. I believe I featured a few teams in here. See? Power of crystals, right? Crostas. That's 3. 6 that I need to get. All right. For different characters, right? I should definitely get. I have enough for 2 here. So before I do that, I'm going to, let me go up here. I believe this is the one that gave you the Elpis armor, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. Nope. He has nothing, so nothing to worry about. So it's mainly just in this first area. Wait. You know, you gotta talk to everybody here. Nothing? Alright, cool. Nothing? Alright, cool. Sorry. The song in the car sounds amazing, by the way. In case anybody's wondering, it sounds absolutely amazing. So, upgrade sidekick equipment, sure. Right, I'll come back for this, right? Because obviously, you know, you're gonna need that, you know. So, though I'm not gonna do it now, it's not like a high priority thing. I bought him out. He has nothing. And it's kind of one of those things I'm doing. I'm taking inventory. Really just making sure, like, okay, did I get what I said I needed to get? All right. Nothing. This is again for weapon upgrades. I don't take these into consideration. All right. I stick with, say, just, yeah, it's for weapon upgrades. I'm not, like, in any rush to do that. You know what I mean? I understand their value, right? Like upgrading the void weapons, but it's not a high priority thing for me. So, what does this one got? Nothing. In here? Probably nothing. All right, so I'm gonna pop back to Intrana here, buy the upgrades, and then make sure I go get everything else. Actually, no, I'm gonna go for the, I'll go for the Grostics. There's more of those. Okay, Power of Crystal Sword. That's for Dilly. All right. And already have Uella. All right. That's done. My next order of business is actually going to be running a phase shift. All right. And the reason why I do the phase shifts here is because you get more experience than if you did them in the open world.
So tighten up.
So, pick my area. Go here. Yeah, I think we'll do. Man, I swear to. Something about that song. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll stick with here. Run my phase shift. To level up Fina here. I'll do another style, huh? So, Phase Amp DS. I don't remember which version of it that was. I'll have to look. But, pretty sure that's the OG version, like the ultimate version here. Which is, experience times 10. You know what I mean? And so, this is providing me with that times 10, you know, multiplier. I wish they simply just bring it back for the XP dungeon, right? That'd be much better use of my time. Because then I can just go to one place and get it all knocked out. You know what I mean? And then I can do that as many times as I want, you know, versus just doing a phase amp one time.
A battle well fought.
I could use.
Should be stated that the experience being given here, just from the amp on its own, is multiplied by 10. If you take into consideration the extra gear that Fina has, I think it's a 3.2. Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 3.2, which helps in getting more experience and getting some of these characters to level 100. You know what I mean? So.
The Princess of Darkness. A battle well fought.
I could use a sugar face.
There we go.
Follow my lead.
Leave it to me.
The Princess of Darkness. The Symphony of Souls has ended. I did only what. The Symphony of
18 million.
has
Nice.
What the?
All right. So that's my once a day, and this is why, right? Because this can happen at any time. So I'm like, all right, I'll keep it. And then I'm not doing another phase shift for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? Next order of business, just finishing the dungeon.
Okay, give me a break.
No one can defeat a dragon son.
Thinking about it, Tiramisu could probably clear this on her own. If we're being honest. Pretty damn sure she can clear this on her own. No difficulty, right? Easily. So. So there's that. So that's my one
Behold Tiramis, the dragon summoner.
phase shift for the day. What was that in the dreams? Okay. Can pick any. Oh, no, it's Star Trail drop. Never mind. Already pulled on the oh, that could be coming from me anyway. Yeah, because I did the pulling on the 2 banners. Alright, so that's done. What else do we do daily here, or just part of our routine? We'll do the scratchbook to get it over with. Alright. It doesn't take long. There may be people that just absolutely hate this, but considering the fact that you're able to upgrade the XP gear you get, both weapons and armor, to about 35%. So just on the equipment side alone, weapon and armor, 70% increase. You add on, say, a 50% badge, you're in the money. You know what I mean? So I would definitely do the cat scratchbook here. What is Sleepy City? Red and blue blobs. What? Red and blue blob. The only place I can think of that was like a Sleepy City was this area here in the underworld. But I don't remember blobs. You know what I mean? So, anyway. Fashionable, the capital is, with a lovely palace in front, lovely flowers in front of the palace. Alright, that's Unigon. And, of course, the straw dummies. We know where this is at. Wow. Another one. All right. So we got colorful country. And they have races for us. That's Nag, which I believe is in the present. All right, so that's done. I mean, again, that doesn't actually take long. You know what I mean? And then, let me go ahead and use up some of these green keys. Remember, at this point, I'm not running another phase shift, so the reason why I'm using the skip option instead of running the dungeon is to get more of these. These naps here. Because again, we know that I have stuff still left to get in those areas, so. keep using them, waiting until the keys are all gone. I mean, plus we're getting... Yep, they're gone. Right, now... Right, no ads to watch here. There's a red key. A green key. Another green key. There we go. So I can come back. I'm trying to... All right, and then, you know, for the red key, it could be anything, you know what I mean? So, there's that. Do I do any pulling? Not really. Unless, of course, there's, like, new characters that's been released. At least to the extent of my pulls. But, considering I have these just sitting here, I might as well use them, right? Okay. Mozzie. All right, Luring Shadow Axe 16. And Luring Shadow Axe is all done. So, kind of unfortunate. Give me a staff user, right? A shadow staff user, not a light one. Who's this gonna be? It's funny. Very funny. Right? He gives me another staff user. Light. Jeez. It's fine. Alright, so there's that. No big deal. Cool. And yeah, I mean, the only other thing left for me to do, maybe some quests. And trust me, there's a lot of those, right? Kind of like the thing when you got every character in the game, all you got are character quests, all right? So knock those out. Maybe 1 or 2 a day, depending on how I'm feeling. Like if I'm not too interested in the character, then, you know, I'll probably do more than that. Unless it's someone like, oh, okay, I want to see how this ends. You know what I mean? So, for them. But other than that, that's pretty much it, really, for me. Aside of that, I mean, only other thing I would do is like test a team comp or test an idea that I have with a particular team comp. To see, like, all right, is this feasible? Like, does this work? You know, so for example, creating master difficulty based teams here. This was one I came up with. That worked in all of the first Hollow area. Right? Pretty much worked all throughout here. You know what I mean? So, am I still on master difficulty? I gotta check, because more than one person uses my beginner. What the hell? Jeez, man. This is what happens when you let other people play the game, right? Anyway, speaking of letting other people play the game, I can't wait for the what is it? That friend feature, refer a friend feature. Cause man, that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? Anyway, Rose. Really not much for me to change here. I typically don't use that skill, but that's typically how that would work. I would just go around different areas, really, because my goal here in this case was to create a team that worked. Ideally, I was going to create one that worked in all areas that had master difficulty, but sure, Sesta, another style, with Homa, another style, right? Iffy thrown into the mix. Would destroy absolutely anything, okay? But that's too easy, you know what I mean? I wanted to experiment with, like, characters that you most likely wouldn't see together, and this is just, like, one, like, case of that, you know what I mean? So, and then, test other ones as well. So, this is his archives. Not sure. Stealing, this is, like, wrong team name. originally the stealing this party 6 was Kid and Colette's, because they had the ability to steal. So one way to like get items, you know what I mean, is to go up against Vars and then just constantly steal from them. You know what I mean? Keep your defenses up and then just constantly steal. You know, you could do that against even the bags if you wanted to, right? You got 5 turns, you know, so it's just one idea for those out there, right? This here, really just a test team. Again, I'm always testing something, you know what I mean? Another test team here, which doesn't really make any sense in the grand scheme of things, but whatever. Alchemy. I put this together a few days ago, mainly just thinking about Alchemist here. I know, Claudia, anyone who's played the games knows that she's not an alchemist, right? Impel, he kind of fits, though we don't really see him do any kind of alchemy. Ryza, obviously, does alchemy. And then Alma, this one here is another random team. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my whole dailies. You know, most of the time those are gonna be running a dungeon, do a phase shift, and then like I said, if I'm up for it, then I'm all right. Let me go ahead and do a character quest. You know what I mean? And then I go from there. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all I got. You guys got questions for me? Feel free to let me know.